Now available on Tata Sky channel number 526.
Hello and welcome to the Property News here on Magic Bricks, now India's first property channel. I'm Krishna Kumar. First up, a check on all our top stories.
I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted and the bill is passed.
Cheer for home buyers. The real estate regulator bill is passed in both the upper and lower houses of the parliament. A Janagraha survey ranks Mumbai the city with the best administrative system in the country. Pune, Delhi, Bengaluru follow. However, Indian cities compared dismally with their global counterparts in ensuring quality of life. Are your cities working for you? That's the question we're asking tonight. 20 million square feet of residential supply could hit central Mumbai soon. The Maharashtra government okays fast-tracking redevelopment of BDD chawls in Lower Parel, Naigaon, Suri. Plans could be finalized in a month's time. That is a Magic Bricks Now exclusive. Straight up, home buyers' persistent lobbying has finally paid off. The real estate regulator bill has been passed by both houses of the parliament in the Rajya Sabha as well as the Lok Sabha. The bill that seeks to protect the interest of home buyers, increase transparency and growth in the property market was passed in the Lok Sabha today. Urban Development Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu thanked the opposition for their support to pass the bill. The Cabinet Minister says now the onus lies with the states to ensure effective implementation.
I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted and the bill is passed.
Thank all the members from all sides for the wholehearted support they have extended to this bill, and I'm sure that this bill will live up to the expectations and aspirations of the people, and whatever further improvements to be made in future, we will collectively think about it and then take it forward. Thank you.
We do have Magic Bricks Now's editor Faye D'Souza joining us here on the Property News in the studio with me for more on that. Faye, I see a big smile on your face. It's done, isn't it? Finally, both houses of the parliament, we have a regulator. All that remains now is for the president to sign the bill. Tell us, at this point in time, how is the industry and the home buyer set to benefit from here on?
Oh, a great deal. A great deal will change, Krishna, starting, when this bill comes into force. Now, remember, each state, like the minister said, each state will now have to pass a notification and bring the bill and the regulator in force in that specific state. A state could have more than one regulator if it feels the need. Two states could get together and create one regulator also, as the case may be. But, I stayed up last night reading the entire text of the bill, and there are some very interesting things. So, obviously, there were a lot of details that we already knew of, but the actual text of the bill throws up some more interesting details, like a 5-year warranty on construction, which, the developers will have to give all customers, which means that if anything cracks or breaks or leaks in your construction in the first 5 years from the date of possession, the developer has to fix it within 1 month at his own cost. That's one thing. We know the escrow account is settled at 70% and not at 50%. Okay. The other thing that's interesting is, up till now, when you paid your 20% down payment, that needed to have been done with a registered agreement. Now, that's at 10%. So the developer cannot take any more than 10% from you without registering an agreement. And here's a very, very interesting thing, which I'm sure all members of the industry, all developers will be very interested in. Krishna, remember we had this conversation about the fact that the industry was upset about the fact that there would be no regulation on local government bodies that are handing out permissions. And I'm reading this from the text of the bill, which basically says the authority can make recommendations to the government, which in this case will be the state government, for the creation of a grievance redressal mechanism against acts of omission and commission from competent authorities and their officials. So what this basically means is that the regulator can recommend to the state that a redressal mechanism be created against local bodies. Okay. This is very, very important. Now, it's buried in page 20 at the bottom of the page where we found it. It's extremely important that this recommendation is being made at all. And I'm sure industry will be very pleased when they discover it.
Clearly a historic day, Faye, and this bill will have a huge impact on the sector. So what exactly will it change based on what you've told us? To get us the builder's perspective on that, we have Gitambar Anand, the president of CREDAI and National, and also Anuj Puri, chairman and country head of JLL India, joining us here live on the Property News on the phone line. First, let's take it across to Gitambar. Then, Gitambar, tell us a historic day as far as the real estate sector is concerned. Some good news in it for the sector as well, despite all the complaints they've had about RERA so far.
Yes, obviously, and we've always maintained that we always wanted a regulator. Of course, there were certain issues that we had, and we still do. Like, basically, Faye had just mentioned that there's good news on page 20, but on the page when I read it as we speak, para 32. But you see, Faye, this is just, a grievance redressal mechanism. What needs to be done is that the sanctioning authorities also need to be answerable to the regulator, because suppose we make a building, which is already 80% or 90% complete, or maybe 100% complete, and we apply for a Bijli Pani connection, or, it's 100% complete and we apply for an occupancy certificate. It's sold, and, we've spent all the money, we made the project, but the gentleman sitting over there just doesn't want to issue the OC in a hurry. He should be answerable to the regulator, which does not come forth in the bill. All it says is that they will recommend a grievance redressal system. Now, a grievance redressal system means that the offense has been committed, time has elapsed, people have suffered, and then you go to that redressal committee. What needed to be done was that post commencement of construction, any permission required by the sanctioning authority should be given in a time-bound manner or 30 days. If it was not done so,
Gitambar Anand, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. There are two things I'd like to bring to your notice. One, first of all, is a conversation we had with the Housing Secretary. I did an interview with the Housing Secretary in New Delhi. She talked about how all of the ministries together are working on a building, model code, which will be used across the country. The aim is, and I don't know, how well this will be executed, but the aim at least is to provide all permissions for construction in 26 days or less. Now, while that plan is still in the works, it's a very ambitious plan, I agree. In the meantime, I'm pointing out that this is good news. I'll tell you why. Because we had nothing up till now. There was no sort of even grievance redressal against local body authorities. We might have one if the recommendation is made, if the state government approves that recommendation. But at least someone is taking cognizance and thinking about it. Agreed, we have to push it a little further. But I think that just the fact that it's been mentioned in the bill at all, which it was not in the previous versions that we saw, is heartening. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree with you, but Faye, I'm again reiterating, it needs to be done. It should have been a part of the bill also, that their approvals have to be time-bound. They should have been answerable to the regulator. Having said that, let's let things be as they are. But the second issue which really is bothering us is that ongoing projects which haven't got a completion certificate will also be, have to get themselves registered. So over here, again, I'm saying consider this an 80% completed project, which is, even 100% sold. As a developer, if I was doing a project like that, I would put it, on a go-slow mode, because I would be very, very skeptical about what kind of documentation, what kind of permissions the regulator would ask me for. Maybe I don't have, or maybe I'm not able to give a satisfactory representation to the regulator. So let me just put my project on hold. Let me first wait for the regulator to be formed. If my project is 2 years away from completion, also even then. Right. So this, we have been pressing very hard that ongoing projects should not be compelled to be registered with the regulator. All right. It's going to create a lot of confusion unnecessarily.
All right, Gitambar, please hold on with us, because also joining us on the phone line is Anuj Puri, country head of JLL India. Anuj, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us on this historic day. The RERA bill has been passed by both the lower and the upper house of the parliament. Good, would you say, with all the amendments and the changes that have been suggested to the bill? And more importantly, what is your take on the kind of impact it's likely to have on the real estate industry going forward?
So it is certainly very good. There's no doubt about it. Okay. The bill was required. From a perspective of consumer protection, no doubt about it. I think it was wanting for a very long time. There are certain provisions which, personally, I'm not in agreement with. One of them being not involving the local authorities in any delay that is caused. I just feel is that one of the main constituents where delays can be caused is on the approval of the local authorities and not making them a part of this bill. To my mind, passes on their responsibility to the developer, which is perhaps not the right thing. But other than that, I feel two or three things are going to happen. One, in some of the larger cities, you're going to find that the supply will get constrained.
Right. Anuj, this is Faye D'Souza. It's nice to have you on the channel. We've missed you for a while. I know you've been traveling. I have a quick question to you and Gitambar Anand, who's also on the phone line. We've had a couple of views come in that two things. The escrow account requirement of 70% and the 5-year warranty and having to refile everything one more time, that all of this will lead to an increase in prices, at least in the short term. Do you agree, Anuj?
I certainly agree.
What quantum of increase do you expect?
So there will be, say, two increases. One will be that the cost of capital, which today the developer was able to secure the capital through the pre-sale, is not going to be possible. Now they will have to go to borrow it from NBFC. That could be anywhere between 16 to 18%. So whatever that quantum that they borrow, 16 to 18%, will necessarily get added to the cost of the project. That's one. Second is, I just believe is that, I overheard Gitambar saying, and I do believe that many of the developers will start to go slow because, of the paucity of funds that they'll have to align themselves only to deliver that project. And say what I was saying was, particularly in a city like Bombay, where your cost of construction is no more than 20 to 30%, and you're asking them to put 70% of the money in an escrow. That's 40% of their surplus money that is going to be stuck till the end of the project.
True.
That necessarily takes away the liquidity from the market and inability to expand. And that's where I feel is that's the second hit that we're going to see, is that the supply will get constrained.
Sure. All right. Gitambar Anand, very quickly, same question to you. How much of a quantum of increase do you expect to see because of the regulatory bill? Of course, we have to remember that each state will have to bring in a regulator with an appellate tribunal. All of those matters will have to be looked into, notified. We're looking at least a 6 months to a year window before this actually plays out. But Gitambar Anand, what sort of a quantum of increase do you foresee?
See, Faye, the thing is that the bill says that those projects which have an OC or which are complete will not be required to register. So I was, this is conversation amongst colleagues. The general thought is we should complete a project and sell it. Now, if that were to happen, then this is what is going to be the result is you won't get, as Anuj said, supply will be very, very, very constrained. And if supply is restricted and people are not manufacturing more, there's going to be an increase in prices, and it's going to be pretty sizable. Why I say this is that, in the bill itself, it says there are, we have, as good developers also, experienced blackmail from some people with malified interests. The bill says that, you can actually be held as a willful defaulter if even a visual representation by a prospective buyer is translated into a complaint, you can be described as a willful defaulter. Now, that can be grossly misused. So why should anybody, given a choice, I would definitely not like to sell before I complete. Yeah.
All right.
And I would like to charge my price on completion, which is going to be at least twice what I would have charged on launch.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So fair enough. Still some concerns there from the industry and the possibility that we might see higher prices. But Krishna, in the meantime, we have a regulator. I think that's a tremendous step in the right direction. And as we've seen in the past, with every regulator we've seen in this country, there is a period of adjustment and there's a learning curve that happens. But at least I believe we're on the right track. And if responses from industry are taken on board, changes are made, regulators are open to conversation, then we might actually see a far healthier industry going forward.
Faye, I would go back to what Venkaiah Naidu was talking about. This bill is going to evolve over a period of time. The hope and prayers are that, while it is good for home buyers and their rights, hopefully we don't have to end up forking out even more to buy our dream homes if supply constraints were to kick in. But Faye, thank you so much for taking time to be with us here. On to the other big story of the day. A nationwide survey of cities and their civic bodies ranks Mumbai as number 1. Sharing the top spot with the maximum city is Kerala's capital city, Thiruvananthapuram. The annual survey of India's city systems, or A6, put out by NGO Janagraha, ranks Kolkata and Pune at number 2 and Bhopal at number 3. National capital Delhi comes in at number 6. Bengaluru doesn't even make it to the top 10 list. It comes in at number 12. However, the survey has a word of caution for top-rated cities as they compare dismally with their global peers. The report says that Indian civic bodies are still working with band-aid solutions rather than fixing the root of urban problems. In fact, they point to recent urban crises as a wake-up call to civic bodies. Magic Bricks Now's reporters used this report to conduct a SWOT analysis of civic bodies of Mumbai, Pune, Delhi and Bengaluru. Let's check it out. Then, is your city working for you? Let's begin with the city that's number 1 on the list. Mumbai, topping the Janagraha's annual survey of Indian city systems, or A6. Mumbai gained 8 ranks over last year. However, it has a lot of ground to cover when compared with other global cities like London and New York. Disha Shah gets us this report on what makes Mumbai tick. Take a look.
Mumbai has been ranked number 1 when it comes to city administration according to an annual survey by Janagraha. To begin with good things that the survey highlighted, first and foremost, the Maharashtra Rights to Public Services Act, which was passed last year. The survey says that this has been the most important component which has led Mumbai to top the list, because the act talks about speeding up public services by the administration in a time-bound manner and at a nominal cost. Secondly, BMC as an independent body, a civic body, has its own share of revenues and is not likely and is not quite dependent on either state or center for funds. Thirdly, large pool of civic staff, and fourth, stable civic leadership. So all these are hit points when it comes to civic body BMC. But on the other hand, the survey says that a lot needs to be covered on ground when we compare it with the global competitors like New York or London. For instance, it's a wake-up call for the civic body when it comes to preparing a development plan for the city, which has been delayed by good 2 years and which is still currently in a draft state. So that needs to be prepared on ground. Secondly, the survey also has given a poor score when it comes to addressing citizens' complaint. So of course, this is very well evident if we take an example of the Deonar case, which has been, the fire has been repeatedly breaking on ground. Citizens have been complaining day in and day out, but none of the solutions have been provided on ground by the civic body. So the survey highlights that this needs immediate attention. So lastly, all in all, despite being ranked number 1, the survey highlights that a lot needs to be improved on ground if we compare it with the global competitors.
All right, then next on the list is national capital Delhi, which comes in at number 6 on the survey. This year around, Delhi has slipped down the order. Livability of the city has suffered due to high pollution levels. Aishwarya Paliwal gets us this report on what is ailing India's capital. Take a look.
Capital New Delhi has slipped a notch in this year's ranking. This year, it's standing at number 6. Now, let me tell you about some of the parameters on which the city fared really well, starting with very good urban planning by civic authorities. Another thing that urban planning bodies have done is that they have given local wards all the power that they need to implement all the plans that they have for the city. Another thing that Delhi has is that it has adequate funds to implement infrastructure and services. And last but not the least, they have adequate and very skilled human resources to implement all that they have in mind. Now, those were the good points. Let me tell you about some of the bad points, some of the parameters in which Delhi fared really poorly. First and foremost being the high level of air and water pollution that Delhi citizens are currently facing. Another thing is that Delhi citizens do not turn out when it comes to local body elections. This results in a very poor voter turnout. Last but not the least, Delhi fares very poorly when it comes to transparency, accountability and people's participation. Now we can say that Delhi's wake-up call has been the high level of air pollution that we have seen in the recent past. And let me tell you that not only is New Delhi India's most polluted city, it also ranks in world's 10 most polluted cities.
Moving on to the Silicon Valley of India, Bengaluru ranked at number 12. How does Bengaluru stack up when compared to the rest of the cities? Amitabh Balachandra gets us that report. Take a look.
Well, the city of Bengaluru does not stack up quite well when compared to the rest of cities. According to an annual survey conducted by Janagraha, the only positive, however, coming through this entire survey is that the civic body BBMP or Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike addresses citizens' concerns or complaints far better than other cities like Mumbai, Delhi and Pune. However, there are several other negatives, especially quality of life, which is very, very poor at the moment, almost unlivable, according to a research conducted by Indian Institute of Science. Also, laws and policies in the city are inadequate at the moment. Remember, the civic body BBMP is cash-strapped when compared to the rest of the civic bodies across the country. Also, BBMP ranks very low when it comes to allocation and implementing public services or funds, implementing funds for infrastructure. It scores very low as well when it comes to urban planning, be it at a regional level, at a municipal level, or even at the ward level. What's also coming through is that, ironically, the IT hub of India, the civic body of the IT hub of India, lags behind in adopting information technology, according to this survey. So overall, it's a very, very bad picture coming in for the Silicon Valley of India.
All right, let's wrap this up with Pune, which has come in the top 5 at number 4. The city gained 4 ranks over last year. We have Ruchi Deshpande getting us this report on the smart city that is in the making.
Well, the city of Pune has jumped 4 places from its ranking in 2015 to secure the 4th position in a survey conducted by Janagraha in association with ICSIS. Now, the survey states that while Pune scores a lot on the administrative side, there are a few misses as well. So just to begin with, first off, Pune has basically been ranked 4 in this survey for this year. This boost to the rank is primarily due to the Maharashtra Right to Public Services Act that was introduced last year, that is in 2015. In addition to this, the city also has a decentralized development structure where it involves a lot of its local bodies and its local wards when it comes to the development of the city. In addition to this, the city also has an adequate power supply that helps a lot of infrastructure projects get along. The flip side to this is the fact that Pune does score a low on some fronts. First off, the city does not have a development plan in place. Moving on, the city scores a little low on in terms of public infrastructure, especially compared to its big sister, the city of Mumbai. Moving on, it also scores a low on skilled labor, and the most important of them of all is that the city is poor when it comes to addressing citizens' grievances.
All right, that was a 360-degree coverage of the Janagraha survey ranking the systems as far as Indian cities and the civic bodies are concerned. Moving on to a Magic Bricks Now exclusive, 20 million square feet of residential supply could hit central Mumbai soon as the Maharashtra government okays the fast-tracking of redevelopment of BDD Chawls. So where will these homes be built? What exactly is the government planning? Ruchi Deshpande gets us this report.
In a boost towards the redevelopment of the Bombay Directorate Development or the BDD Chawls, we learn exclusively at Magic Bricks Now that the redevelopment plan for these BDD Chawls will be done within a month from now, that is sometime next month in April. What we also learn is that the final draft is already prepared by the Maharashtra government, and it will be tabled in the cabinet next month, where the final decision on the redevelopment of these chawls will be taken. Now remember that the Bombay High Court sometime last month had asked a nodal agency to be appointed for the redevelopment of these chawls. They did not want the private developers to do so. So the government has gone ahead and appointed MHADA as the authority to redevelop these BDD chawls. Now, just to get you a little bit more detail, these chawls are spread across 91 acres. They are present in prime areas of South Bombay like Naigaon, Shehri and a part of Lower Parel. This also amounts to about 207 chawls housing about 16,000 houses. Now, if and when developed, we are looking at a super built up area of approximately 20 million square feet in size. What we also learn is the fact that in the latest development, a special provision had been proposed in the Mumbai DC, that is Development Control Rules, for the development of these chawls. So let's see what the status is with these chawl redevelopment within a month from now.
And with that, we've completely run out of time here on this edition of the Property News. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.